Hello again, fellow YouTubers. Solomon Pleasant back for another Card Fight Vanguard clan analysis review thingy. And today we have Genesis. High replacement for Oracles that Oracles replaced. So, Genesis's main concept, Season 3 and Season 4, because they haven't gotten support since Season 4, and even then that Legion support was just kind of there. Charge up the soul as much as you can, and then fire it like a giant cannon. That's pretty much their concept. Basically, think Darky Regs, except they're going to burn the soul at some point. And you have Genesis. And it's pretty much been that concept. Like, Season 4 has Legion, and honestly, I never got past what they did because I was too focused on, like, just imagining a Legion with, like, 10 to 15 cards in the soul and just one of the sides falling over, and that I find is humorous. When it comes to decks, Mythguards are just there. They have Witches, which, Soul Charge for skills. Regalia, Soul Charge for skills. But there's really only one deck that I'm going to talk about, and I'm going to talk about that at the very end. So, I'll just talk about how you build them. How to build Genesis. Cancel. P-Guards doesn't really matter because they also have other cards, that one in particular that I'll talk about. You can run as many P-Guards as you really want. You don't necessarily need to run 4. Like, 2 to 3 would actually be a pretty solid build, I think. For trigger-wise, crit and draw are going to be your two big things for that one. Kind of like with Oracle. And let's just start with a grade 0 that I think should be a little bit talked about. And I was looking at grade 0s, there weren't that many to really talk about, so I just went with the one that I really liked the best, because I liked its skill the best, as a starter goes. Battle Maiden, oh, you expect me to say that. Amenohokaria. Amenohokaria. I think is how you say it. Booster grade 3, Soul Charge 1. It's a very free skill. I like it. It's nice. A lot of their grade 0 boosters involve soul charging because, again, this deck is really just soul charge and soul charge and soul charge and then soul blast and then kill your opponent. And again, for those who know Genesis, they'll know what grade 3 I'm going to be talking about and the big deck I'm going to be talking about, because there really isn't many other decks in Genesis that are even that played. But to be fair, Genesis isn't even really played. So, there's that. Grade 1s! The biggest grade 1 I should talk about, and why I say that P-Guards really shouldn't really be a big issue with Genesis, come on. You can do it. There you go, you did it! This right here is why I say that. Apple Witch Cider. I see what you did there, Bushy Road. I see what you did there. This is a 7K, so not bad. And what it says is, when this is placed in the guard zone, if you have Regalia in your Vanguard name, until the end of the battle, this unit gets the auto-build. The Vanguard gets the ability of, when your Genesis Guardian is put into the drop zone, put that card into the soul. That is ridiculously good with spam guards. And ridiculously good with Genesis, because that right there is a really, really nice card. Because it basically says, hey, you put stuff in the guard zone. You're not going to use it in the drop zone, you might as well put it in the soul. And it's just ridiculous. It really is. Alright, grade 2s, Twilight Hunter Artemis. I feel like I should mention the Artemis ride chain because a lot of people know about it. What this thing does is it says, hey, if I hit, I soul charge 2, and if I have the grade 1 in there, I soul charge 2. So it's really nice, but I really put this spot for the grade 2 for this thing, not because I can soul charge 4 at one point, even though that is pretty good, but just because I just want to put this out as to what people thought of this ride chain. Because I had some different thoughts, like Monty really didn't like it. whereas T really thought it was one of the most consistent ride chains in the game. And I'm just in the middle like, what are we doing here, guys? What's going on? I'm confused. So if people in the comments could definitely, like, explain why people thought this ride chain may have been good or bad, like, just explain it, that would be fantastic, because I'm very confuzzled on this one and not sure. Much not sure about that. But the unit's not bad. I can still charge 4. And now we get to talk about the big boss of it all. If I can actually get to it. Now, Genesis has some bad grade 3s that I'm going to mention before we, talk about the big one that everybody knows. Let's start with this one. How do I say that name again? Eternal Godness. Iwana Gemahe. I'm gonna go with that. I don't know how to say these names. These names are complicated. Alright, let me break 4. Soul Blast 6, retire all your opponent's rear guards in the front row. God, that's bad. Soul Blast 3, get +5. I think we know what's wrong with this one. Yet no. Baddie with Gemahe. No. That is a no-no. You do not need to do that. And one other one that I just want to talk about before we get to the big one that everybody knows needs to be discussed because of how amazing it is. Let's talk about one that trolled so many people at box openings. Regalia of Wisdom and Courage by Henderl. Hey, I hear you wanted Yodel. I'll give you this instead. Limit Break 5, Counter Blast 4, and Soul Blast 6. Choose up to 3 of your opponent's rear cards, retire them, and draw a card for each. Actually, that's slightly okay. It could have been worse. But, hey, I hear you wanted Yodel. Guess what? I'm gonna be here. It actually isn't the worst because I can at least draw 3 cards, but for a Limit Break 5, are you joking? Bushiroad, you know what you were doing. You know fully well what you were doing in that situation. You know you were making a bad card, and Bushiroad still makes bad cards, everybody. Let's just address that. They don't just make broke ones, they make stupid ones that are terrible. Alright, I think we held it off long enough. Let's talk about the biggest unit in pretty much any Genesis deck up until the point when Genesis died. And that would be Omniscience Relica Regalia Minerva. You all know how good this thing is. Counter Blast 1, Soul Blast 3, and choose 3 Genesis cards from your hand and discard them. At the end of the battle, if this unit attacks you, would pay the cost if you do. Stand this unit plus 5,000 power. This unit didn't make you feel like you were standing up the Vanguard. This unit made you feel like you got an additional turn. Almost. Because of how ridiculous this thing was and how consistently you could do this. I break ride. I stand up. I do it next turn. I stand up. You can have 2 turns. You can basically have 2 Vanguard attacks for, let's assume you have 9 in the soul. That would be a total whopping 3 turns of 6 of 6 Vanguard attacks. That's ridiculous. Everyone knew this, and even that owl on her shield knows how ridiculous that card is. This is a ridiculous Genesis, and probably, like, arguably the best Genesis unit in the entire game, in the entire Genesis clan. We all know it, it's incredibly good. So what's the overall consensus of Genesis? Personally, it could be better. I consider Genesis very mid to low tier right now because 1, they barely get jack diddly as opposed to support. Oh, thanks for moving again. And 2, sure they have the concept of just firing the cannon, but the one thing I don't like about decks like that just have one big giant play is that after you do that, if your opponent survives, which they have a 50-50 chance surviving when it comes to Genesis because unlike Darky Regs that have a really big soul and then beat you with it, Genesis likes to say, we're going to beat you with it by blasting it and then not use it again. And it's very hard for them to recover, except for, like, maybe Cider, because Cider is a really good unit. But, just... it's a very clan. It really is. And I think that's because of their lack of focus when it came to, like, how they were being developed. Like, they were just being developed as the season went. They had no real concept. They were just like, meh, let's just go with it. We're gonna kind of rip off Darky Regs and Oracle and put it together. Like, this is Darky Regs and Oracle's child. Like, those two clans had a child, this is the child. And one thing I'll bring up now, because I didn't bring it up right away, they were only introduced in Season 3 and were used by Masaki, which really, really bugs the heck out of me because of... and I think we talked about this when me and Monty were discussing Oracles, but it really bugs the heck out of me that she just used this clan. And my dog's freaking out. Not because of, like, any specific reason, but just because she wanted to try something new. And then you look back on Season 1, and you see why she's using Oracle, and why she never gives up with Oracle. And then you get really upset. Overall, this isn't really a bad clan, it's just not the best. And I would really be interested to see if people could evolve this clan in any way. But anywho, this has been Solomon Pleasant for Team OMG Vanguard. This is the Genesis clan, and this is Solomon Pleasant signing off.